No, I got it. So I just
Uh-huh. There we go. Bam.
so I put them all in a circle, but on the right,
Yo, this is what came to you in your dreams?
yeah. So every
That's
this
freaking
character
epic
would
and
wipe
wild.
the screen behind him was a different symbol, and so I would wake up vivid. I'm in art school. I'm like, wow, I need to write this down. And it's the only time I've ever dream logged because I don't know why I don't dream log, but yeah, these are what came up.
Absolutely epic, Hans. Hans, you just got like magnitudes of level cooler. Not that you weren't already magnitudes of cool above the average cool guy that is on, a level of exponential coolness, but you just became magnitudes of cooler, even more so. Like they almost look alien, but not. It's
Right,
like
and that's
like
it's like
electrical
a
or
language.
plasma. It also reminds me of stuff that you see in like Macronesia style, or maybe Hawaii-ish, maybe like one of the, or
So
maybe it's like
each, each
Ranga
one is
style.
set up to hold like the egg, like the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom actually is a
Yeah.
tattoo. The
Oh
tattoo
yeah.
I got after my accident to help balance because it's balance. But they all have the capacity to hold this spherical egg shape, and so
Yeah, man.
I don't know what that was all about, and I wish I could have deciphered the language that was being spoken to me, but my father was very prolific in saying, "This is your great grandfather speaking to you," and he's not speaking to you in German; he's speaking to you in the old German
This
tongue.
is like plasma great grandfather kinetic shit. This is wild. Is this the ancient lost language? Could be. Like they all are in pairs. Yeah, I believe so.
Anyway, just something I thought was
Like the coolest thing ever. Like this Hans, we and like look at how it's like a ball, but it's like a plasma ball. Like this, man, man.
well. Each one has a different frequency, and that's kind of how I got.
Yeah. How do we calculate that frequency?
Hence why I put it in a circle. It was like they're all circulating around this energy, and so that's the question: where what is this all about? But since then, I've had some really interesting dreams. So I went back to Nepal. God, when was it? 1998 for my thesis and my internship. And while I was there, I had a dream before I got there. Okay, let's just put it that way. I dreamt that I was in a place that was familiar. I think I brought this up on the show before, where I knew the environment that I was in. It was a pub. The lighting was a specific way, and I knew the people that I was with, but I didn't see them in my dream. I felt their energy. It wasn't like I knew I couldn't see faces. I saw their energy. And through
Yeah, the
through the
aura.
door walked my ex-girlfriend from high school. I won't give her a name, but super fascinating. Carolina. Okay, I won't give her last name, but so she walks through the door, and I wake up. So here I am in Nepal. It's probably end of February, so it's the end of the Australian Christmas vacation or summer vacation, basically, because their seasons are flipped. And we're all hanging out, myself and a bunch of alumni from Lincoln School where I went to in Kathmandu. We're all hanging out with this kid named Ozzy David. And he knew nobody, but he had met a bunch of these kids in Tamil, which is the tourist district that we'd always go down to and hang out at the pubs. And his father had been working there. So he was there, he's like, I'm here for 3 months and I don't know what to do. And so he started hanging out with all these alumni and other kids from Lincoln School, where I went to school. And it's interesting because we all decided the last night, it was like a Sunday night and he had to leave Monday morning back to Australia. Let's take Ozzy David out and give him a good time and, good conversation, whatever. So we all end up at the reggae pub in the middle of Tamil. It's on the third floor of a building, hotel building. There's like apartments or whatever above it. sort of toward, I want to say, the east side of Tomel. So you're right when you're leaving Tomel. So we're all hanging out. The lighting seems really familiar to me. The people around me are alumni that I went to school with, my own class and other classes. And wouldn't you know it, Ozzy David turns to me and he's like, Hans, you know everybody at Lincoln School. I'm like, oh, I don't really, because I only know, the people here and a couple of the kids that are still left, but there's so many people that come and go. I don't. And he's like, well, did you ever know Carolina? And my mouth hit the table. Because all of a sudden I'm back in my dream and I'm in a familiar place, the reggae pub. I'm with people that I know by their energy, my alumni friends. And it was as if she walked through the door with him asking that question.
Right? Like just like boom.
Boom.
Like,
No, it was huge. So another interesting one that I had years, actually, I guess it would be 2 or 3 years after that. I was working for Barnes & Noble on Broadway here in Portland. It's now sadly a Goodwill of all things, but it used to be a Barnes & Noble bookstore, and I had just taken my manager basically to her car. So a couple of years before that, when I was still in art school, I had a dream that I was in the park blocks of Portland, and in the park blocks, at the end of the park blocks, the southern or the northern end of the park blocks, there's a building with a fish, a salmon that goes through the building. It's the artwork of the building. And I got mugged by 2 guys in a bicycle in my dream,
damn.
up against the wall. And in my dream, I pushed my way out of it and through it and exited. Okay. So here I am at Barnes & Noble. I'm closing down, late shift. It's 11:30 at night. And my bike is parked by a tree outside the front on Broadway. And so I go outside, I'm unlocking my bike, and this drunken guy with his bike is approaching me. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of stuck. If I move backward, I'm kind of locked into the bike rack. If I move forward, there's a tree in front of me, and this guy is pretty much veering toward me. And he reached out, tried to grab my bike, tried to grab my backpack. He actually ended up ripping my backpack open, and a couple items fell out. I grabbed them as quick as I could, and I pushed forward because in my dream, I knew that I had gotten out of this situation by pushing through it. So I went across the street to Safeway. I called the cops back when they were worth something in this town. And within 10 minutes, they had called me back, and they're like, we think we found your guy. We followed tea bags all the way up the street because he had the one thing I didn't grab was a box of tea, and so he was throwing tea bags as he walked up the street.
Like, what was just asking to get caught?
Oh,
like, here's my trail of tea bags.
Trail of tea bags. Anyway, so that was a second.
Mind blown? Do you want to have your mind blown 13 times over?
Sure. Yeah. God, please.
Have you ever realized that each of your characters is a 13, which is 2 3s that are inversed from each other, and then a perpendicular 1. It is a 1 3 3, and each one contains a 1 13 with a intersecting 1 and 2 inverted 3s with each other.
You just spent the time to go through all those, huh?
I saw it instantly. I was like, holy fuck, there's 13 of them, and they're all 13.
So 13 is an interesting part of my family. So my grandfather, on my mother's side, so my mother's father, my granddad, he was a lumber salesman in the 40s. So all the beautiful, lush Oregon lumber, sadly, he worked for the companies that cut all the trees down and planked them, but he also sold raw wood all over the world. And so he went to Shanghai, he went to Japan. He sold a lot of lumber. Japan, as they bury the trees that he would sell underwater, so they have it in the future, which is fascinating. because they don't have a lot of lumber there. But he was in Shanghai right before, during World War II, they bombed Shanghai. And he was in a hotel downtown, or his flat. It's now a hotel, but when he lived there, it was a flat. And he had no way of getting out of Shanghai. The last boat that left was on Friday the 13th. I'm not sure what month, but fascinating.
Your angels will protect you if you need to
only
escape.
cabin available on the boat was the 13. Okay. And my grandfather had 1300 in his passport number. And so he was like, I'm going to take this last chance. It's an unlucky number, whatever. I'm doing it. If he had not gotten out of Shanghai, my mother would not have been born. So that's why it's an interesting numerology in my family, not just for me, but even my sister. So it's not one of my numbers.
It's intricately entwined into your interdimensional epigenetic ancestral plasma existence. And
how do I stop sharing here? To talk about dream science and symbology.
Absolutely epic episode, my friend, and we will do this again hopefully next week. And until then, love you, brother. Love you all. Okay. Just cause it's Woo Woo Wednesday.
I'm sweet. I got a beat. Just look at me. What do you see? Puppet pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet pineapple, I'm a pineapple.
Pineapple owl.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just BurnEye.